All right, let's take a look at the very first thing you should do whenever you get a new job. And it's going to show your client what a freaking pro you are. What if there was a way to ward off trouble clients? Stack the odds of success at this job way in your favor. Get a head start on doing the job and look like a boss while doing it. Well, there is. And you know what it is? You send your client a survey. I know, that's disappointing. But most copywriters don't do this. They don't even really know what they should be asking. So let me help you with that. And I'm going to show you my exact survey, by the way. But first, I just want to prepare you to kind of think about what you should be looking for when you look at it. So I have 4 tips for doing a great client survey. Tip number 1 is that you should be trying to read your client's mind. Here's what I mean by that. You want to know the single most common way that copywriters fail on projects? It's quite simple. They turn in copy their clients don't like. Now, notice I didn't say they turn in bad copy. Sometimes you could turn in great copy, but your client is an idiot, and somehow you missed that when you started the job. And until you are a pro copywriter with a reputation who can afford to stand their ground and say, test the copy first, well, you're going to have to make sure your client likes the copy you write. We can't all afford to do the A-lister thing where we're like, well, if the client doesn't like it, that's too bad for them. When you're starting out, it's actually too bad for you. Thankfully, I have stumbled upon a top secret method for actually getting inside my client's mind and uncovering exactly what they want to see from me. In fact, in most cases, I discover a single specific web page or sales letter they're hoping their copy looks like. And that allows me to almost guarantee they love what I write. It is actually scary how effective this mind reading technique is. Wonder how I do it? Easy. Just ask them. Seriously, it is that simple. You want to know what your client wants? Just ask. I mean, this is such an obvious step, but I know so few copywriters who do it. They don't ask, is there a sales page that you want this to sound like? Well, think how much that stacks the odds in your favor when you do that. I've had people tell me the exact page, I really like this. They're like, well, that makes my job a lot easier. So I would say it's a shame that other people don't do this, but you know, anything my competition does wrong just makes me look better, so whatever. But not you. You're on my team now. We share secrets like this. Okay, tip number 2. You want to avoid contract disputes. How do you do that with a survey? Well, one of my best tips for making sure a job goes smoothly is to be crystal clear with the client on what you're going to deliver. What kind of copy? How many pages or words? When will it be delivered? And so on. Now, you could do that with a separate contract or a project agreement, and if you're really full on, you might. But the reality is, as a freelancer, you're never going to be able to enforce a contract if someone breaks it. It's just not worth the legal fees and hassle. So instead, what I like to do is just do everything I can to make sure misunderstandings don't arise in the first place. And so if you include all this stuff in an upfront discussion, it makes sure everyone's on the same page. So if you're doing a survey anyway, why not just put it in there? So I include, as you will see, a few questions on what they're expecting from the copy, what they want to see, how much, and so on. Tip number 3, I do a bit of what I call cheaters research. So this is technically, I guess you could say it's client research. You know, it's not really market research, but I actually do ask the client to do my initial research for me. And obviously, because the client's usually a shortcut way to understand the market. I mean, they deal with the market every single day in their business. They should know the market's problems, dreams, fears, hopes, whatever, and their own product better than anyone else. So if you know how to get the right info out of your client, and you don't fall into the trap of believing everything they say, interrogating your client first can be a gold mine of information that can cut your research time like way down. And sometimes you don't even need to go any further. That's why, remember, one of the stages of my system is just survey client. Sometimes you don't need to go beyond that. And finally, my 4th tip is that you are going to be vetting your client. And this is one reason that I like, and I'll go into this more shortly, but I like to do these before I work with someone. And I ask questions that help me gauge how easy a client is going to be to work with. If they answer my market research questions with detailed, thoughtful answers, or they reference prior avatars and research they've done, or answers that show that they get how the market thinks, I have a pretty good idea they're going to be easy to work with. On the other hand, if their answers are way off base, or they're short and useless, even when I ask them to be specific, a red flag goes up immediately. Okay, so now that's enough talking about it. Let me show you a proven survey.